Is it too late to start a YouTube channel? Well, it's safe to say that YouTube is here to stay, at least for now that is. But the statistic I'm about to share with you changes everything. Although social media apps like TikTok and Instagram are consuming hours upon hours of people's daily attention, we all know that no platform has cracked the short and long form content dilemma as well as YouTube. According to a study by Nielsen, among streaming services, YouTube is the biggest and most watched, commanding around 25% of total streaming time. But what really blew my mind is the fact that 10% of all streaming time was spent watching YouTube on a TV screen, with Netflix trailing behind as a close second at 8%. When I first heard this statistic, I was shocked. I don't know about you, but personally, I've probably spent less than 5 hours of my entire life watching YouTube on a TV screen. In fact, virtually all of my YouTube consumption happens on a mobile device, but I'm just one of 2.5 billion monthly users. Our personal perceptions are always skewed by their very nature, but the data rarely lies. At first I thought, well, it must be all the kids watching YouTube on their household TV since they probably don't have their own mobile device yet. But surprisingly, this growing trend of watching YouTube on the big screen has been fueled by the older generation as well. I decided to see for myself if this trend of watching YouTube on TV was true. A couple of months ago, I started my first YouTube channel, and no, it's not this one. It's based on a completely different theme, but it's the one place where I actually have some data to comb through based on my own personal experience. And what I discovered was even more shocking than I'd originally thought, because not only was the Nielsen study correct and that 33% of the total watch time on my first channel was viewed on a TV, only 16% of my total views came from those watching on the big screen. Which means that those watching my videos on their TV actually spent more time watching the video. You know, the thing you really want people to do after spending hours upon hours creating the thing. In fact, out of all of my viewers, those watching on a TV accounted for the highest average view duration, meaning that once they click on a video, they are more likely to watch it for longer compared to viewing on a mobile device or computer. Because while the temptation to swipe away, lock the screen, or use another application is much higher when using a computer or mobile device, the idea of reaching out for the TV remote and awkwardly looking for another video is much less tempting. Not to mention, those watching on their TV are most likely relaxing in their living room, maybe watching with their family, friend or partner, so it's more of a social setting and less of a mindless scroll. The Nielsen statistic sounds made up at first glance, but when you think about it more deeply, it makes complete sense. Even though in the same study by Nielsen, they found that Americans spend more than 5 hours per day viewing content on their TV, with 21% of this time dedicated to consuming broadcast and 27% consuming cable TV, which when combined outnumbers the total TV watch time for streaming platforms such as YouTube and Netflix at 40%. But if we look at the current and future trend of media consumption, TV is dead. Yes, it might have had more watch time overall in 2024, but do you think this will still be the case in 2030? YouTube is the natural replacement for mainstream television. Why? The answer is quite simple. It's better. Look at the history of media consumption and attention. Society was transformed with the invention of the printing press. Books, which previously required a time-consuming and tedious process to produce, could now be manufactured at scale. This paved the way for newspapers, which became a weekly and eventually daily habit for much of society at the time. Then came the radio, an experience that could be shared and enjoyed as a social occasion. So the television was the obvious next step in the evolution of media, allowing people to share ideas, to entertain and inspire with a combination of written, audio and visual elements. At first, there were only a small handful of TV channels, but with the invention of satellite TV, Many of us grew up with access to over 100 different channels. This made it possible for content creators to make shows which were tailored towards a particular audience. They still had to be broad enough to not alienate the mass population, but it gave them scope to create something slightly more unique. And then YouTube was born. At first, it was a place for people to host any old video content, but now, after years of mass adoption, YouTube is the new TV. In fact, it's the next evolution of TV. The power of YouTube is its ability to allow individual creators to create highly specific and relevant content appealing to a particular audience, which, when combined with YouTube's interest-based algorithm, is the final nail in the coffin for traditional mainstream media. When you open your YouTube feed, the content you're served is tailored to your past and current viewing habits, which in large is based off of your own personal interests. YouTube essentially is a hyper-personalised version of traditional television. Every YouTube channel is a channel in and of itself. Creators own the channel and control which shows they want to feature on their channel. Viewers vote with their attention and engagement, which in turn influences the type of shows creators focus on. Every single YouTube channel you've ever watched has the potential to be even more powerful and influential than any traditional TV channel. You're not even aware of 99.99% of the content available to watch on YouTube, because the YouTube algorithm will never show it to you. Every single person with a YouTube account is literally walking around with their own hyper-personalised television network in their pocket. And increasingly, this experience is now being consumed at scale on people's TV screens. The TVs we once used for consuming mainstream television, DVDs, and more recently Netflix, has a new function in our daily lives. YouTube has accelerated the natural evolution of media consumption, allowing for a higher quality and interconnected experience like no other. This interest-based algorithm has been working in the background for the past decade, all part of a master plan to become the #1 video content platform. And now, in 2025, not only is it getting more powerful, it's opening itself up to a whole new generation of viewers. And I don't just mean the younger generation. Over the years, YouTube has seen an ever-growing increase in viewers and content creators. You might assume that this growth has been fueled by millennials and Gen Z, since every young adult wants to be a YouTuber now, right? Well, the story isn't as obvious as you would think. You've possibly noticed this trend in your own social circle. Many people who are 50, 60 or even 70 years plus are not only consuming content on YouTube, they're actually creating content too. The baby boomer generation are entering retirement, and many of them are discovering they've been sold a lie. They've been told that if they work most of their life in a job they hate, put their savings into a retirement pot and keep grinding until their retirement day, they can sail off into the sunset. But the reality of their situation paints a completely different picture. One half of the lie they were fed is true. Many of them have a nice nest egg. They've solved their money problems. They own a property or maybe two with no mortgage. Their home is now worth 14 times more than what they paid for, and they are sitting on a rather large pension pot. But as much as they possess material wealth and financial freedom, they lack something money just can't buy: purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. So they turn to YouTube content to plug this void in their life. And the smart ones have realised that while consuming content on YouTube can help educate, entertain, or even inspire them towards a life filled with purpose, the true antidote to this lack of personal meaning can be found in creating content. YouTube has ushered in a new era of personalised content, which has come at the perfect time for much of the baby boomer generation. Both of my parents now prefer to watch YouTube instead of traditional television. In fact, my dad has been creating and sharing content on YouTube for the past decade. but my mum has only recently adopted the habit of consuming content on the platform. One thing I've noticed is they are being exposed to new perspectives and information from people who they can relate to or look up to, something that can be hard to find in traditional media. The older generation have found their home on YouTube and they are using it to spark a new lease of life within themselves. When combined with the access to technology most of us currently enjoy and the increasingly low barrier to entry when it comes to content creation, it's easy to see why baby boomers are turning to YouTube to create and share their own content. I personally think this is great. It's a win-win. They can connect with like minds, find inspiration in a community and share their wisdom and experience, which in turn elevates the collective consciousness and enhances the younger generations. And as more and more people make the switch from consumers to creators, more connections can be made, new interests can be discovered, and relatable perspectives can be shared. The hyper-personalised content experience on YouTube is only going to become even more finely tailored to each individual, but behind each individual lies a larger community of like minds and the opportunity to participate and add value. For the unfortunate of the baby boomer generation who are unable to fix their money problems, YouTube presents a solution to solve both their purpose and money problems all in one. By no means is this a guaranteed outcome, but for those willing to take action and face the fear of failure, the probability of enhancing all aspects of their lives and others greatly increases. I know I'm painting a very positive picture of the YouTube platform since I'm intentionally choosing to look at the positive aspects of it, but I can't deny, as you might have noticed too, there is a darker element to this platform as well. Because YouTube is a business, they need to make money, and the main source of their growing revenue comes from advertisers. Like all of the traditional media platforms we previously looked at, print, radio and television, the value that YouTube has to offer advertisers is attention. You might think that all content on the platform is free, but it isn't. Each time you watch a video, you choose to give some of your time to the creator and receive whatever they have to offer you, whether that be entertainment, information or inspiration. Each time you watch a video, you make a transaction, just like you would buy a piece of clothing or a nice meal. You receive the value you desire from the creator's video, and in exchange you give them your time and attention. Your time, however, is finite, so it could be argued that the time you give one creator to watch just one video is worth more than your entire life savings. And it goes without saying, you should value your time. But who else knows the value of each individual's time? Well, the answer is quite simple. Advertisers. And they are actually willing to pay for it, because they know if they can get in front of the right people for as long as possible, their chances of selling their product or service greatly increases. As a result, YouTube puts a lot of weight into two key metrics: click-through rate and average view duration. If you've never created content for YouTube, you might be completely unfamiliar with these terms, so let me quickly explain. Click-through rate, or CTR, is the percentage of people who clicked on a video after seeing the thumbnail and title in their feed or search results. Average view duration, or AVD, is the percentage of watch time each video gets on average. So since YouTube wants to have as many people on the platform for as long as possible in order to charge advertisers more money, these two golden metrics can be abused, creating a negative experience for those viewing content on the platform. And sadly, many people don't realise they're consuming negative content. You might have heard of this type of content being referred to as brain rot, because that's exactly what it is. This content's sole purpose is to get you to click, or in the case of YouTube Shorts, not swipe away, and then to get you to watch for as long as possible. People are making it their full-time business to create only brain rot content because they know it can pay well. And this is a real problem, because not only is it hurting the quality of the platform, due to the nature of YouTube's hyper-personalised algorithm, once you watch a few of these videos, more and more of them will be suggested to you, which can take you down a dark spiral with no end in sight until you wake up and realize this content is literally rotting your brain to its very core. This is a much deeper topic, best suited for another video, so let me know in the comments if you'd like me to do a deep dive on brain rot content. YouTube has managed to fight its way to the top of the content food chain, and it looks like it's going to hold this spot, at least for now. Many would argue TikTok is a rival, especially in terms of overall watch time. While TikTok has definitely broken ground and made real progress in merging content creation with e-commerce, unlike YouTube, they haven't cracked the code of long-form content, at least not yet. YouTube has taken all of the best qualities of its predecessors, from books to television. Combined with our access to current technology, anyone can decide to make the switch from consumer to creator. And this movement will continue to grow as more and more people, both young and old, become disenchanted with conventional careers. They will discover YouTube as the medium to connect with like-minded individuals, allowing them to pursue a path aligned with their true self. You don't need a talent agency or a television network to discover you and have you sign a contract that aligns with their goals. Instead, you can choose to go your own path and become your very own production company. You can build your own channel with your own shows in pursuit of your own goals. And while doing so, you can attract and cultivate a community of like minds to progress and evolve in tandem. Never before has this opportunity been so accessible and powerful. But if you choose to pursue this path of personal growth and discovery, do not expect overnight success. Because the truth is that most of the successful creators you see on YouTube began as awkward presenters, sloppy editors, uninspiring writers, riddled with insecurity and doubt. But the reason they've reached a level of perceived success is because despite all of the hurdles one has to overcome in order to gain traction and start to see real progress, you must first accept the reality of what you're trying to achieve. Nothing worthwhile is easy. Progress is not made without struggle. All transformations require a balance of two seemingly opposite extremes. To experience the joy of building something people willingly give their valuable time to consume, you have to go through the fear, uncertainty and doubt that comes with starting from nothing. Creators on YouTube typically have to become generalists in order to succeed, unless you have the financial power to hire help from the get-go. Most creators have to start by wearing all of the hats. You need to take on the role of the writer, the camera operator, lighting technician, audio technician, director, editor, stylist, graphic designer, marketer, the list goes on. And this can be overwhelming, but the goal here isn't to become a specialist in any of these fields. This can come later if you choose to specialise in a certain role and have the ability to hire help. But at the beginning, you need to improve your understanding and skill set in all of these fields, which is the polar opposite of a traditional TV show where each person plays a specialised role. With YouTube, this idea is turned upside down. Although the medium is more accessible, the work required to achieve results is more challenging, but the opportunity to develop personally and to help others level up their skills more than makes up for the initial struggle. YouTube, quite simply, is a completely different breed. Eventually something bigger and better will replace it. What that quite looks like is hard to tell, but for now, it's here to stay. Strive to use this medium in a positive way, and whatever you do, avoid brain rot content at all costs. If you've made it this far, firstly, thank you for giving your time to watch this video. It truly means a lot, and it also means that there's hope for you yet, since your attention span hasn't been completely cooked by short form content. This is my first of many videos coming soon to this channel, so if you have an interest in personal development, creating your own YouTube channel, cultivating an audience on social media and finding balance and harmony as you pursue your own goals, I will be releasing more videos on these very topics in the coming weeks, and I'd be honoured if you decided to become one of my first subscribers. If not, that's okay, and I thank you for your time. As always, stay positive, Seek balance and don't be afraid to face your fears.